Hey, how's it going, everybody? So today we're gonna do some live online book arbitrage sourcing. We're gonna be looking at Flipmine, as always. Try to do some eBay to Amazon flips. We're also gonna do, or try to do some Amazon to Amazon flips as well by looking at Keepa deals, Keepa product finder, tab, and everything like that. So let's go ahead and let's get started. If you're somebody who's watching this in the future, then just go ahead and skip maybe a minute or two um, ahead so that we get everything settled here. All right, let's see. Here we go. All right. So if you're here, if you're already here, go and throw your name out in the chat. Where are you coming from? How's it going? Hey, Rosemary. How's it going? Good morning. Nice to see you. Mike, Davenport's deals. Let's go. Let's go, Mike. Yes, sir. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. Okay. We're going to start over on Flipmine. We're going to look a little bit at Keepa deals, probably a little bit of Keepa product finder, and we'll just hang out. We'll just see how things going. Coming from Houston, Texas. All right, let's do it. All right. Good morning, Tom. Nice to see you here. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So over here in Flipmine, I always like to try to look at Flipmine as many times as possible throughout the day. Don't really try to look at it for a long period of time, but just try to come to the home page or come to my filters, look at that as many times as possible, like, most number of times, because again, the best deals definitely are going to be the ones that show up immediately, and they're going to be gone immediately. Eric, good morning. Waking up from the West Coast, Sacramento. Let's go, Eric. Coming in strong at 6:30 a.m. I appreciate it. That's awesome. All right. You can tell my voice is a little bit raspy, so you know that I'm also up pretty early here. All right, we got Dungeons and Dragons book for $60, free shipping. Is that a good deal? Come over to the buy box on Amazon, 77. Probably not. Keep it chart looks solid though. I mean, a lot of sales back here in March, May, and July at around $40. So clearly this is not undervalued, because if you could have bought it for $40 in the first 3 months out of the year and now it's 60, that's definitely not a good deal. You couldn't make an offer on this, but yeah, this is definitely a solid Keepa graph where this thing is selling pretty frequently for 40, $50. I would say if you could snag this book for like $15, that would be a score, because I would say pretty easily you'd probably be able to sell this for like $50. So that would be a good score, 15, but clearly $59.99 is not a good score. So let's just keep on going down, see if there's anything else. Let's look at this accounting book here. We can look at this medical book as well. Usborne reading collection. Actually, let's look at that too. Gary, good morning from beautiful Vegas. Thanks for being here, Gary. Nice to see you. Let's do it. All right. So accounting for $60 plus $5 shipping. Let's see what we got. $114 buy box. That's a good sign. Notice that the new price from Amazon's $128. So that's going to represent the ceiling. That's definitely going to be the max that you could charge for this book. Solid Keepa graph on this one as well. Looks like right around $90 as lowest used price most of the time. A little bit of a repricing war, which is interesting. So two sellers competing for that sell. They got down to $40. So that's actually cheaper than what we can buy it for right now. And let's actually plug that number in. If we could have bought this for, that probably would have been like $45. I'm thinking, if you look at all these buy box, like these buy box sellers, looks like they're right around like the low 100s. That's where they're selling out. So I would say if he sells for 100, you'd probably be a little bit. I mean, you make $30. It's actually pretty good. This definitely is a textbook season book, because you can see there's a little bit of seasonality in September and also in January over here. So I would say at 45, that's an okay deal. It's not a great deal. I usually consider like great deals things that are easily going to make 100% ROI and sell like pretty quickly. My idea of selling quickly is a little bit skewed. I always say, like, if it sells within 2 to 3 months, I feel like that's pretty quickly for me. But yeah, so at 60 was $65, definitely. I mean, you could probably still make a little bit of money on it, but I wouldn't be. I don't feel comfortable throwing that much capital around trying to only make $9. So if you were going to send an offer for this, I would say maybe max send an offer for 40, so that you pick it up for 45 and go there. But even there, like, I would feel more comfortable if I could pick this up for like $40. I think that would be a better deal. So I'm going to send them an offer of 35 and probably get get denied. So let's go. And actually, let's go and take a look at the condition just a little more. And you know what? If we look at that front page, that spine looks like it's peeling a little bit. So I'm not even going to send an offer, but probably would want to do a little more research before we just send offers. Okay, let's see. Mike says, have you noticed you find better deals at certain times, say morning versus evening, weekday, and weekends? That's a great question. For Flipmine, yeah, definitely I find better deals throughout the day. If I come home late at night, Mike, you know, I'm sourcing 10:30 to midnight. There's just, I think, fewer people listing on eBay because most people are asleep. So definitely, I'd say during the morning to all the way up until maybe like 7 p.m. is pretty good. For all the Keepa deal stuff, I would say that I find deals all day long over there. So I would say I haven't really noticed any patterns with Keepa deals or Keepa product finder or anything like that. That's a good question. All right, another solid Keepa graph here. This book consistently selling lowest use price right around 60. Has been lower in the past, like back here in March, selling for right around $38. And let's see, what can we buy this for over here on eBay? You'd have to pay 57. So again, you're just not gonna. There's not enough room for you to make money on this. It's not undervalued enough. So I'm gonna go and skip that. And let's see what else we got. Okay, the Usborne Reading Collection. So I wonder if this does in fact come with everything, but $54.08. Let's come over here. Looks like Amazon's at $99. That's going to be the cap again. Remember, that's the ceiling. So that's the most that we'd ever be able to sell this for. And it actually is not Amazon. It looks like it's a third-party new seller. Yeah, it's a third-party new seller, Elegance Store. And again, solid Keepa chart. The use price is generally staying really high. Notice that there are little dips again, and again, that's going to be an argument for tracking the book with the track product feature. Because if you could have bought this entire series, this entire set for 30.61, I would say you should have been pretty easily like able to flip this back for 80. But I'm not picking this up for 54. It's not undervalued. Good morning, Blaine. Let's go get those books. Let's do it. Okay, let's see if there's anything else that looks interesting, and then we'll go ahead and scroll down. Volume 1 and 2, so that's not the entire thing there. Let's just keep going. Okay. I'm curious if anyone knows anything about these this international these ICC books right here. The reason why I say I wonder if anyone knows anything about them is because I noticed that. So, like, if you were to pull this book up here by ICC, most people are restricted on this because you have to get ungated in it. But if you look at the Keepa chart of these, notice that they have like this around July of last year, they have this drop off in used offer count. So all of these books, like all these ICC books, they have the same thing. So I'm thinking the reason why they have that is because either IP complaint or everyone got gated. So curious if anyone's ever sold any of these books. Let's see if this one. So it doesn't look like there's one on this page, but a lot of these ICC books, they have that same sort of drop off in used offer count. And then you can see how basically the used price skyrockets. So I'm wondering if anyone's ever sold any of those, and if anyone's ever got an IP complaint for those. Okay, let's see what else we got. We got Johnny Flips in the house. I assume you use max and mins for your buys, safeguards. Do you compete against buy block, or do I compete? Yeah. Whenever I buy something, Johnny, I'm always thinking worst case scenario in mind. I'm thinking, okay, absolute worst case scenario, what would I sell this at, and would I get my money back, or even would I still make a little bit of money? So yeah, I do set a min and a max with Be Cool, and do I compete against the buy box? I've done that in the past, Johnny. Now what I have it do is I compete against the lowest FBA offer within the min and max price, and I actually undercut by 2 cents. And the way that I have my repricer set is that undercuts by 2 cents. As soon as it gets to my lowest price, my min price, it automatically resets back to the max price and starts coming back down. So I'm testing that out as well. And honestly, I haven't seen much of a difference in sales between that and just competing for the buy box. So I don't know, honestly, if it's making that much of a difference for me, but that's what I'm trying right now. Okay, this book is what is this book? Firecast? Okay, so a Warhammer book. You can see this book can sell for as low as 17. There's even been new third-party sellers on as low as $28. And yeah, this book generally just doesn't sell a ton. And when it does, this book's probably worth right around like 20 bucks. So in my opinion, $34 is overvalued. So it's not even like it's a good deal in my opinion. It's just like it's overvalued. Gary says I could not get ungated in this. Yeah, I mean, I was able to get ungated in it, Gary, by going to their website and buying 10 of an item. But even though I'm able to sell them now, what worries me is I think that I could get an IP complaint if I sell them. And then also, A lot of those books, Gary, are highly likely to be counterfeit. If you run them through the books run counterfeit probability check, pretty much all of them, at least the newer ones, say that, hey, this is likely to be counterfeit. So I was wondering if anyone has ever sold any, just because I wanted to know if I could dodge a bullet by not selling them and getting one. Okay, a lot of these books look like they have a lot of potential. So let's go and take a look at them. Taste Buds for 52 bucks. You can buy it for 35 on Amazon. So clearly we wouldn't buy this on eBay if it is a good deal. Okay, and so this is an argument for a book that I'd say is not going to be a great deal, but it's not a bad deal. Johnny says, I'm out in the Keys. You going to Miami? Yeah, Johnny, I am going to Miami. So it's crazy how that's coming up. It's already a week away. That's insane. But here's a book, let's see, $35. This is actually a prime seller here. Let's see, it goes 35, 31, 31, 35. So it looks like there's about, was that 1, 2, 3? There's 4 offers, actually 5 offers, and then it shoots right back up at $70. There's a couple copies there, and it goes up to 130. So let's see what this book consistently has been selling for. So the most consistent sales look like it's back here in February and March of this year. Solid sales at $70. That's good. Notice that this is probably not a textbook. This is Taste Buds and Molecules. This is actually really cool. I should probably take this in for, if it does talk about chemistry, I should take this in for my students. This is really cool. This came out in 2012, so this is definitely not a textbook. So I would say when you're looking at books that are not textbooks, looking at Keepa data further back in history is more relevant to making a decision today, because there isn't a newer edition out. And what I would say, what you're really looking for here is you're looking for used offer count. You're looking for how many people are selling this in used condition and what that book is moving for. So if we kind of want to know what this book was selling for retail, you just go way back into the past, 3,000 days. Amazon's on the listing right around 25 to 30 bucks. So that's generally what the book was selling for. And then as soon as Amazon went out of stock here, you can see the used price actually went up pretty high. And it looks like most of these sales are probably around the $40 to $50 range. Again, recently, the beginning of this year, at a used offer count around 10, we're selling at about 75. And this is, again, the lowest used offer price. So it could be that, that prime sellers are selling a little bit higher. Then we have some dips in price. So, for example, the person who bought the book here for $14, great deal. It's probably one of these 10 people who are tracking the book, and they got a good deal there. We have some more sales in the, October, November, around 70, 80. It looks like we have a prime seller, Okla Books, who moved theirs at $84.95. So this book has potential to sell for some pretty good money. So this would be an Amazon flip if you did want to buy this. And what's interesting is, like, this seller, Read and Refine, who's now at, what is this, $35. They started at $363. Then they went down to $184. Then they went down to $79. Then they dropped down to $35. So they're probably just trying to get rid of this book for some reason. So I would say, yeah, this is slightly undervalued. The used offer count is still quite low. Like, at a higher used offer count in the past, at 15, it was still selling for right around 70. And now you had a used offer count about 12. So I would say this book is slightly undervalued. There are about 5 copies at 30 bucks though. So the thing is, you would have to wait for those to sell out. And those, I think, are pretty much, at least a couple of those are prime. So you got, yeah, there's 2 of them prime. One's in good condition. So if you were to buy this for $35.62, I'd say conservatively, going back to what Johnny Flip says, conservatively, I would say, okay, this book probably would sell for 60 bucks conservatively, and you'd make $4.96 profit. Not great, but more realistically, I think what you'd sell this for is you'd probably move it for right around 75 bucks, make a 50% ROI. It's possible for you to go higher. Like, for example, this prime seller, Miles Fines, you can see that he went ahead and sold his copy at $90. So if you sold yours at 90, that book becomes way better. But I wouldn't count on that's what you'd be selling it for. I would say, hey, be conservative. Say, if I sell this at 60 bucks or I sell it at 65, which is a little bit conservative, would I make money? You would make a little bit of money. So I would say this is probably a safe investment. But I'm not saying that this is a great deal. It's an okay deal. Okay, let's see this Invasion book. Mike says, what's in Miami? So there's a resellers conference, or I think, is that what it's called? Yeah, there's a conference for like booksellers, online arbitrage booksellers in Miami that's coming up in a week here. So that's what we're talking about, Mike. Invasion book, 104 bucks. Let's go over to Amazon. Looks like $96 is the price. Not a good deal. You can clearly see that when this book was moving much more quickly, Amazon's on the listing at 60. The lowest used price was right around 30. Yeah, so this book completely overvalued. Not picking that up. $13.39 for this book here. Ooh, this is interesting. Look, buy box price 145. I highly doubt that that's actually reasonable or that's what we would expect to get. However, $60 is the lowest used price. So let's take a look here. Okay, so I would say that this is a good deal for sure. I don't say this is an amazing deal. This is definitely a good deal. This is something that I probably would buy. So let's go ahead and put $13.39. Can see on average, Seller Amp says it's moving twice a month, and that checks out. I mean, you could count the sales rank drops. I would say roughly that looks like 20, probably 20 to 30. So that would be like probably around 2 per month. So that's good. Solid Keepa graph on this around 40 to 50. So I would say 45 is probably what you would sell this for. It's 100% ROI. Pretty solid. If you look at this prime offer, somebody was listed for 53. Polar HQ, they sold out pretty quickly. There's even people win the buy box at 150. Now, I would highly doubt that they're selling it. And you can see that they came on the listing November at 150. They jumped all the way down back to 145, and they're still in stock. So they haven't sold it. And yeah, this is the same person. So this is what I mean about this person has an unrealistic buy box price, because what person wants to pay $100 extra to get this in 2 days rather than to get it in, let's see, what's the alternative? So either you can get it in 2 days, Tuesday, February 14th, or you can get about 14 days later and pay $100 less. So most people are probably going to be willing to do that, considering that probably they're collectors who will be buying this book. So yeah, I would say this is definitely a scoop. Like I would totally pick this up. In the past, Amazon was on the listing for about $25, but that was back in January of 2020. That's when they went out of stock. So they've been out of stock for a couple of years. Probably unlikely that they're coming back in stock in this. And the good news is that when Amazon did go out of stock, this book did go up in price pretty quickly, which means that it definitely holds some level of value, definitely above retail. So let's go and refresh this. This should be gone. So there's actually one more copy available. So looks like there's 2 available. I would say that's a good pickup. You're not making a lot of money, but I would say that you could probably expect this book to sell within 2 months if you price it at 45 as prime seller. If you want to exploit the buy box, I'd say maybe go up to $60, in which case that'd be a much better deal. And honestly, if I were to send it in, I would try to exploit the buy box. I'd probably put min at 45. I'd probably put my max, maybe even higher, like at $65. And that's what I would do. I think this would sell within a couple months. So good pickup. I wouldn't say amazing. That's not a great deal. I'd say it's a good pickup. That's solid. It's bread and butter for sure. All right, this book, $69 for this food service management, no photo. So it's going to be stock image anyways, because from Better World Books West. And then you can see most recent sales have been around $160, which is, it's going to be, over double. So over double what the price is today. Then you had some sales in October for right around 120. So let's go ahead and put in the buy cost here. We'd be spending what, $69.85. And today the lowest used price is 160. So the most recent sales have been 160. I think that is definitely thinking very optimistic that you would sell it for that, because in the past it has been as low as $78. We have one for 18. So I would say probably more realistically, you would probably expect to sell this for right around like 100 and 110. Like that'd be more real. That'd be more conservative. For me, this is just too much capital to tie up in this book. So I would pass on this. But if this were maybe $40, I would definitely probably jump on it, because again, conservatively, I'm saying I'd sell this for 110 probably. That's what I can move it at and make a $42 profit. But then if I buy it for 40, there's a little bit of leeway, because remember, this has sold for as low as 80. So if I had to sell it for 80, I would still make a little bit of money. So if this was like a best offer from somebody who wasn't a big seller, I would probably try to pick it up for 40. And if they said no, no worries, I'm moving on. But I think for $40, that would be a good deal. So let's just keep going. Is anything else that's popped up here? I don't think so. Might have to move over to Keepa Deals or Product Finder pretty soon. Let's see what else we got. This one actually looks really interesting. That's intriguing to me. Let's look at this one as well. Global politics, interesting. All right, let's just do these a little bit more quickly. What was interesting is that last book we just looked at was the one that I said I would have bought. Let's see, where is that at? This one here, the Mechanica book. That was already that's been on since 3:35 a.m. So it's 6:50. a.m. That's been on for 3 hours. That should be gone in my opinion. That's a good deal. So it just shows you that people are sleeping, man. They're sleeping on good deals. So there's definitely stuff out there. Like there's no reason why that should have been out for 3 hours. Like, hear what I mean? Like, this book is also a good deal. I don't know why people are sleeping on this. So this book is $62.92. You can see that on Amazon, solid Keepa chart. All of these sales are probably at the new price because the new price is lower than the used price. So I'd say most of these sales are probably right around 160. Maybe the sale was, yeah, this sale here is probably in used condition. So this one was probably at 129.55. You see the used offer count went from 4 to 3. So that's probably a used offer who sold there. Now, one thing I will say is that the used offer count is rising a little bit. Let's see what it looks like in the grand scheme of the history of this book. It's definitely still lower than it has been in the past. So let's see, what was this book selling for at a higher used offer count? It looks like it was still selling for well over $100. So I'm pretty confident that even though we see the used offer count rising, that this book is probably still going to stay over $100. So let's go and put 62.92 in. That would be the buy cost. Conservatively, in the last year, the lowest this has been is right around $100. So I'd say conservatively, you're selling this for 100 and you're making a little bit of money, which is not great. Yeah, I mean, we don't want to be only making $9, but I would say this is a safe investment because this book has held really strong value and even at higher used offer counts, selling solid copy selling for above $100. So worst case scenario, I think you basically make your money back and make a little bit of profit. More reasonably, I think you probably sell for 130, 140. You might even get up to 150. So I would say a little bit more aggressive, sell for 140. You're making a $43 profit, 68% ROI. Again, this is a book that's going to take a little while to move though. And these are the books that I pick up. I pick up books that take longer to move. On average, they take 3.5 months to sell. But when they do sell, they sell for great profit. So let's check out these buy box winners. Let's see if any of them have sold. So I'm clicking on this buy box winner. They're still in stock. So they haven't sold at 170, and actually that makes sense because there's no sales range drop after that. Let's see who sold out here. So the buy box winner, this was not a prime seller, so this guy did not sell his copy because basically you see he's still in stock when the sales rank drops. So probably the lowest used offer sold at 133.12 there. Now, of course, these sales rank drops occurred when the lowest collectible and used offer count was about 159. So clearly those people are selling, and for some reason, this prime seller on the listing. Okay, so you see this prime seller actually moved theirs at 209. So that's pretty crazy because you can see they went out of stock right around the same time sales rank dropped. So definitely, I would say $200 is possible. You'd be exploiting the buy box for sure. And I would honestly, if I were sending this in, I would probably put my max price right around 195, like 200. But my min price, I'd probably go as low as like 120 is my min price, because I'd still be making a $26 profit. So again, this is another example of a book that I think, in my opinion, should be sold. So high dollar book, but you definitely have to invest more. So if no one buys that by the end of the day, I would buy it. It's not a, I wouldn't say it's a great deal, but I think it's a solid investment for sure. All right, let's see what we got. Contemporary Project Management, $27 is the lowest used price. This book definitely moves a lot more frequently. The sales rank of this is really good. Recently, the used price of this book has kind of just plummeted, and that's because we're right out of the textbook season. Used offer count looks good. It's lower than what it has been in the past, and this book has been moving for about 60. But for books like this that have really great sales ranks, what I'm really looking at is there a newer edition? It looks like this newer edition just came out, which is probably the reason why that older edition is starting to go down in price a little bit. So yeah, this just came out, like just started selling. So I probably would pass on this book. Yeah, I'd probably pass on this book. Let's go to the next one. Global Politics for $16. You could buy it for 13 on Amazon. Ooh, this is a really great example of some books that can have textbook seasonality that could be good. Like, you could have bought this for $15, May, June, July, August. Nobody was buying it, and then boom, all of a sudden, we have August, September come in. People clearly need this for school. Used offer count just goes from down to 20 to 4, and you can see that all these sales are right around $84. So let's see if this has happened in the past. So again, this happened in August and September. Let's go to the previous August, September of 2021 and see if that also happened. So similar thing, the used price was right around 15. August, September, the price went up. and then actually came back down. So let's look at the previous August, September. So same thing. Look, used price was right around 10, 17, then it went right up to 100. So this book looks like it shows some seasonality with the textbook season, but notice that that didn't happen back here in in August of 2019. So some people, the riskier OA sellers out there, they would buy 1 or 2 copies of this in the off season and then try to flip it during, July, August, September. So that's a strategy. I've done it in the past. It definitely can work, but it also definitely sometimes doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, then you're holding the bag for a book that's just not going to sell. Okay, this book, interestingly, has sold for upwards of $200 in the past. Does this have a specific date in it, though? Building construction. This is first edition. This came out in 2008. Okay, that's interesting. So this book came out in 2008, and in the beginning of this year, it had sold a few times for over $200. Even recently, it sold a couple times for over $200. Now, obviously, the best time to have bought this would have been down here when I was right around 40 bucks, probably. But this book is very wild. Look at 2020, 2021. The used price of this was much lower. So it's interesting to see this book go up in value so much. Probably because it's the only edition. Like, it doesn't seem like there's another edition out there, or else it'd be paired with this. But notice that, back in 2020, this was as low as $8. So crazy how much the price of this has gone up. And it looks like I actually am tracking this. So I'm tracking this for $25. Clearly, it's not at that price yet, and I want to buy it at 71. But it's just got too much fluctuation in it. But definitely an interesting book. All right, let's go over to Keepa. Let's do a little bit of Keepa. Let's look at the deals page real quick. So I'm gonna go over to Keepa. Curious for everyone out there, how are you doing? Any good? Anyone buy any good books? Anyone flip anything good from either eBay to Amazon, Amazon to Amazon? Curious to see how y'all doing out there. All right, let's look at some used condition books. Let's look at drop intervals, and let's look at the last day. Let's look at a drop percentage of at least 50%. Is that cool? Let's go 40%. And let's have the drop range be at least $25. And we want the book to be between, let's go $0 to $34. And the sales rank, let's go anywhere from 0 to 2 million. Again, I like looking at books that have higher sales ranks. If you want to go less, feel free to go less. And let's filter by drop. So 270 books meet this criteria, where in the last day they've seen a $25 or more drop, which equates to a 40% drop in value, and is currently priced between $0 and $34 and has a sales rank of 2 million. So let's see if there's anything good here. Okay, this looks like potentially a great deal right here if this is still available. Let's see. No, this is not available anymore. Okay, so if you look at the Keepa chart on this, this book doesn't sell a whole ton, but it does, like, the lowest use price is 170 or higher basically the whole time. So this is selling for at least 170 bucks. It's probably selling mostly from Amazon for 180. And then you can see that the used price of this just today went from like $201 all the way down to 32. And you can still see that it shows that this is available for 32. So there's one person tracking this, it looks like, but if someone else was using the Keepa deals, they could have bought this. But yeah, if this came on the listing for $32, like, this would have been a steal, because you would have bought this for probably 36 with shipping. You send it in, I mean, you're probably not gonna sell for $200, but I mean, if you sell it for 150, I mean, you'd be killing it. You'd be making good money. So I was like, that was just the first book that popped up. That's crazy. Rosemary, Eric says, buying great E2A stuff, just a slow February. Understand that February is traditionally a slower sales month for folks. Yeah, I'm definitely slower so far this month. I think I'm at like 5,000 in sales on the month. So we're already 11 days in. So definitely slower for me. And yeah, February is basically the end of the January textbook season. So things are going to be slow here. Things should pick up in March a little bit though. Rosemary says, I guess I could come over here. I could just show the screen. Let's see what Rosemary says. Found undervalued books in Amazon. Perhaps people getting rid of the books before they change the inventory limit. Yeah, definitely, for sure. Definitely. My understanding is that we're transitioning over to storage capacity in cubic feet. So I think everyone's gonna have 100 cubic feet. So it looks like it looks like they're doing away with the $1,000 restock limits as the base, which is actually good news for sellers who have my model, because again, I sell books that just don't move very frequently. So it'd be better for me to have 100 cubic feet as storage rather than 1,000 item cap. So I'm actually happy about that. But yeah, there are people trying to get rid of stuff still. So definitely a lot of good deals out there. Yeah, Mike says just anxious spending capital and waiting for my books to sell. Also not being buy box eligible and just launched. Any thoughts on that? Yeah, Mike, just trying to get as many sales as possible. What I'd recommend doing would be to send some books in that are lower, like they're not worth much money, but they'll sell for a few dollars profit or break even. They have great sales ranks. So I'm coming out with a video pretty shortly of a, so if you didn't know, I'm doing a $0 to $1,000 book challenge. What I would do if I started with $0, and part of that is like you have to do free book pickups because you have to generate some capital. And so in one of the free book pickups I had, it was actually really good. There's a lot of books that have really low sales ranks, and I'm saying like sales ranks 100,000 or less. So I'd say if you can find books that might sell for maybe, and you like on the low end $12 to like up to 20, and they have great sales ranks under 100,000, just send as many of those in as you can, Mike, because to become buy box eligible, really what you need to show Amazon is that you can sell quantity, you can sell some books, and that there are customers who are happy with you, like they're having a good experience. So what I recommend is maybe if you have books at the house, maybe if other people you know have books and you can scan them, they got sales ranks that are really good under 100,000, they're going to move and make a little bit of profit. Send those in, because your goal is to try to get to 100 sales as quickly as possible. And as soon as you do that, boom, you should be buy box eligible. You might even be able to get buy box eligible before that. Blaine said, I'm fighting the February slump by sending in twice as much inventory. There you go. Yeah, exactly. And it's definitely going to pay off for sure in March. There's a little bit of a textbook season in March. There's a little bit bit of one in May as well. But yeah, the more work you do up front, definitely the better you're going to get in the future. You know, the like better return you're going to get, because all of that work is going to pay off eventually. Does Flipmine always find the best eBay price, or is it possible to find lower price by searching a little bit more? Always find the best eBay price. Oh, good question. Yeah, you always want to research a little bit more. It doesn't always, it only is finding the newest listings, Gary. Or it's only finding that newest listing that popped up on eBay, and then it compares it to Amazon. A lot of the times there is an eBay listing that is slightly above that or maybe a little bit below it. So yeah, I would say, like, let's say you're looking at a book on eBay, like let's say you're looking at this book over here. Let me show my screen. Like let's say you're looking at this book, and let's say on eBay is 60 bucks. I would still click that eBay tab just to see if there's another one available. What I will say is, if the eBay price is a great deal, then it's probably very unlikely that there's another eBay price available. But good questions, everyone. Okay, let's do this. Let's see what else we got here. My best shot. So no, we're not going for that one. Not going for that one. So I'm just going to be doing some really quick Keepa searching or Keepa filtering in my head. This is how fast I would go if I'm doing it on my own. What I'm really looking for is a book that has consistently been selling for a used price up here, and then now the used price is down here. So I'm looking for a dip in price, and I'm also taking into account sales rank, like looking at how many times the book has, how many times the sales rank has dropped, looking at that. So here's another example. This book has been moving for at least 60 bucks. And then today it looks like it's at $20. Let's see if it's still available. So come over here to Amazon. Looks like it is available. So we have one from Amazon Warehouse in like new condition for $20.14. We got one copy available. And the new price, there's one other used copy at 46, and new price, a new copy available at 68. So what is this? Classroom Music for Little Mozart's Curriculum Book 1, the deluxe kit. That's interesting. I wonder if it comes, it probably has to come with this little bag thing too. Yeah, it must come with this bag. What I would expect is that from Amazon Warehouse, like new, this is probably someone who bought it in new condition. Yeah, and it comes in original packaging. So that should definitely have everything. And let's go and take a look at the Keepa chart. This definitely hasn't sold a ton this year, but it very consistently sells for pretty, for out like close to that new price. So if you were to buy this for, what is it again, $20.14, you'd probably have to flip this for right around like I mean, to get the sale, you'd probably want to be a little bit under new. So you could probably sell this up to like $59.99. You'd make an $18 profit. That's pretty solid. But again, it's interesting that this book moved so much July, September, and not in March through July, and not even really November or December. You'd think that this book looks like a gift for a kid or something. So you think that this would sell really well during December for Christmas, but it didn't really move. So I'm wondering if we look back at 2021, what happened in 2021? I guess similarly, it didn't really move during that time period. So I don't know. I would. This is a book that I would bet you would still make money on, though. I think it'd be okay. Deborah says, "Hi Joji, regarding Amazon. Amazon, does the name of the Amazon business account need to match the Amazon seller central account? Do you have any more information on this?" Yeah, you don't. Like if you're buying books from Amazon to sell on Amazon, it doesn't. Like if you don't need to. Like you're just an Amazon customer. So if you're just buying a book as an Amazon customer, you can buy that and then send it back into Amazon. Yeah, you don't need your business account to match your customer account name or anything like that. Yeah, so those are independent things. Yeah. Okay, let's see what else we got. So yeah, I mean, I still think that this is honestly something that I would buy this still. So that's just me. Some other people might not buy this. I think I could probably sell this for $60. I might have to wait on a little bit, but I think that would be a decent deal. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see what else we got. Just keeping it going. I don't think we'll buy this one, but this looks interesting. Yeah, this book doesn't sell a whole ton though. 33. The Visit. Okay, I'll open this just to illustrate a point though. This is a book right now that is like $75 is its lowest use price. Buy box is 103. You can see that this dropped down to about $11.92 today. It looks like it's no longer available. But this book has sold for as low as $8 or $9 this year. And then there have been some sales rank drops recorded at a little bit higher, around 30 or even like this one. This one had to have been at $75. So that's crazy. If you look a little bit further back, this book has sold pretty consistently for around $30, but it does definitely have moments where it goes down really low. So I would say this book has a solid Keepa graph where you'd probably expect to sell this book for right around $30 pretty easily. When I say easily, like within 3 months, you should be able to sell this for $30. So this is something that you'd probably want to track for like $4 or $5 because it has gone as low as that in the past. And if you pick this up for about $8 with free shipping, and you just sell it for what it's been moving at, probably around 35, I mean, you make $13. So that's actually a pretty good flip. Again, doesn't move a whole ton. So that's something that you could do. All right, let's see what else we got up here. Hey, Joji, have you ever used Tactical Arbitrage library software for arbitrage or any other software other than Flipmine? If not, would you consider showing us Tactical Arbitrage? Or I've never used Tactical Arbitrage, so I wouldn't be able to speak about that. I have used Master Book Flippers. I've used eFlip before in the past. But yeah, I think it'd be cool to maybe look at Tactical Arbitrage. I would have to do a little bit of research, figure out how it works, and then how to apply it to books specifically. But honestly, I've been able to find so many books just with Keepa deals, with the Keepa product finder, the Keepa track product feature, the Flipmine, that it's like I'm not really having an issue finding books. But it'd be an interesting thing to look at for sure. Do you know if Tactical Arbitrage has a free trial? I'm assuming that they do. But the only one that I haven't used is I have not used Zen Arbitrage. So Zen Arbitrage is something that I'd love to try to look at. That's a really good question. Can you get tax exempt on Amazon? Yes, you can. So I just did that not too long ago. What do you need to do? You just need I live in California, so I think you need a reseller's permit. And all you would do is you go on Amazon. I think you just type in like submit, sales tax or what I think it's sales tax. I think you just type in Amazon sales tax exempt, and you should be able to basically check all the different states you want to be sales tax exempt in. So it is possible. Should probably make a video on that because I think that'd be really helpful. But yeah, it's definitely possible. I don't pay sales tax on the books I buy on Amazon. And it's actually it's not very hard to do it either. So it's definitely possible. I just don't remember because it was a little bit of like a little whiles ago, so I don't remember the exact steps, the exact process. Okay, let's see. About dogs. Interesting. Virgin Mary. Okay, this book looks really interesting as well. Let's take a look. So this book has been selling pretty regularly for, well, I wouldn't say regularly. Like there have been sales rank drops above $80, some around 40. Here's another one at 70, 80, and then all of a sudden the book dropped all the way down here to $4.60. Is anyone tracking this? Nobody's tracking this book right now. But it looks like that copy is no longer here. So probably what happened is somebody who's using the Keepa Deals page already bought this book. So I hope you see that this is a good deal, even though this book would take a while to move. So let's see, who is the seller? The buy box winner, super deals, super book deals. Let's make sure that, I wonder if they're still on the listing, because if they're still on the listing, then they just made a repricing error and they went back up. But yeah, so it looks like someone bought this. Would have been a good deal. It's gonna take a while for this book to move, but I mean, if you buy it for $8.59, that's the buy box price. So $8.59 conservatively, I mean, you'd sell this book for 45 bucks. You'd be killing it. You'd be making $18. If you sold it for what these people were selling it for, like the most recent sell is at 80, like 75. So if you sold for $75.99, I mean, you'd be making a great deal. So this is what I mean. Like most softwares that I've used, like don't find books like that, but Keepa Deals does find books like that. And with the criteria that I'm looking at, I mean, we've got 260 results. We're not even close to through with the first page, and we've already found like 3 or 4 pretty good deals. Now, it's not like everything that you come across is good. You definitely have to be fast at reading Keepa charts, and you have to be looking at it and be consistent. Look at it a lot, but the deals are definitely out there to be made. Let's see this one. What's the low? So right now the price is right around 30, but new third party is right around 60. So there's probably just not enough margin on that to make anything. So let's just keep going. This one looks interesting. As low as $12.60. Okay, let's open up this one. This one looks interesting here. So there's a copy available for $12.43 plus $6 shipping. There's actually 2 copies available, and it's really interesting that the used price is just going up and down, up and down. So it could be that there's 2 people just playing with each other with their reprices. I don't know. It's interesting, but three sales in the past, like in October, November. This one was at least 64. This one is at least 64. This one is probably at the new price of 50. And yeah, this book has been moving for right around 50. Is this a textbook? This came out in 2012, and I don't see edition anywhere. So I would say, yeah, this book is probably undervalued right now because basically since 2018, this book has pretty consistently been selling for above 40 bucks, like 40 to 50, really close to the Amazon new price. The sales rank is definitely getting slow, like it's selling less frequently. Like it's only sold 4 times this year. Actually, this sales rank this is probably not even a drop, but there's been 3 or 4 sales in the past year. So, I mean, this would not be a great deal. This would definitely be a slow mover, so I'd probably pass on it, but I think you could make money on that. I just wouldn't buy it because I think there's better deals. There's better places to put your money. Let's see, anything else that we can find here? King Conan, quick reference, sources of Europe, truth in progress, Firebag. So we got Pier. So let's see. Oz. That one looks okay, but probably not great. Santa Claus and his elves. What's that one look like? This is interesting. 49.11. Okay, so let me show you something interesting about this book. So what you can see is that this is in stock in new condition, right around $12 to $13. Yeah. So it looks like this book basically is sells every time someone comes back down with a reasonable price. So even though you see the used price of this book really high, most of the sales are actually when it dips back down. In other words, when someone comes back on the listing for a low price, like this sold for 14, this sold right here when someone came back at 17, both of these sells, like this was at 12, this one is at 16. So sometimes it could be misleading. Like you're looking at this like, okay, maybe these are moving for like a high price, when in reality it's not really. And then you have some new third-party sellers come on the listing. So what I wanted to show with this book was a lot of the times you can have books that inflate in price that are well above retail, like the 2, 3, 4x the retail price. And then when somebody comes back on the listing in new condition for what this was selling for at retail before, it could be an opportunity for you to buy some of the new copies. But this is something that I would not buy for sure. Okay, let's see what we got from Eric. On the deals page, what are the 1 or 2 things on each listing that immediately draws your attention and makes it worth? Definitely the first thing is that you see a price that looks like this, that's consistent, and then the today's price is significantly under that. The second thing is to look at sales rank drops, which would indicate that the book's selling. So if you see no sales rank drops, obviously you want to buy that book because it doesn't sell. But if you do see those 2 things, you see the used price is pretty consistently here, and then the price today is down here, and you see sales rank drops, that tells you this book has been moving pretty consistently at this price, and then all of a sudden today, for a short period of time, the price is down here. So if you buy it, you should be able to send it in back up here and sell it for what it's worth and make money. That's what I'm looking for. Let's keep going. Human ecology. So, I mean, here's a little bit of an example. Like when I looked at this, Eric, I'm like, okay, this book generally looks like it's selling right around 40 to 50 bucks. And then you look at today's price, it's 31. So that's not that, in the grand scheme of things, that's not much lower than what it has been selling for. So I'd actually skip, but let's keep going. Like this would be a great example, Eric, if this had sales rank drops. So this meets criteria 1, but it doesn't meet criteria 2. So criteria 1 was used price is high, it's consistently up here. And then the used price right now is down here. So that checks out. But what doesn't check out is that the sales rank is not dropping, which means the book isn't selling. So I wouldn't do that. But like, let's say, for example, we saw that same drop and we saw some data like, let's say we saw data like this, and we saw that drop happen right now today, I'd be like, okay, that checks both criteria because used price is up here, the price today is right down here, and there's sales rank drops, which means the book is moving. So that would qualify, and that would be a good pickup. But this looks like there's going to be newer editions of this, which is why it's probably not selling. And therefore, I'm not picking it up. I'm not even going to look at it because it's just not selling. Okay, here's that same principle to a lesser extent. So right around 20. Today it looks like it's right around 11. So it's maybe half of what it has been historically selling for, but there's not really going to be much of a margin. Like if it's normally selling for 20 and then you can pick it up for 10, like with Amazon fees always being so high, there's just no way that you're going to make much money at all. So okay, this is interesting as well. Couple of sales at 79, couple of sales in the past at 45. Now it's down to 34. Again, even though this is a little bit undervalued in relation to what it has sold for in the past, this just doesn't really move a lot. And this looks like this book's probably pretty old. I was gonna say 1889, obviously not 1889, but if you look a little bit further in its past, it's been as low as $6. It's been more recently consistently selling for around 30. So, I say it all the time, like every book, there's a price for pretty much any book that sells that constitutes a good deal. For me to constitute this as a good deal, I would say, okay, this was selling more recently and consistently at $29.99. So if I could pick this up for like $5 or $6, then it's a good deal. Because if we head on over to Amazon and we type that into the calculator, you would see that you'd make, you have a good spread there. So 2 copies are available right around like $40 right now. But I would say if we go back to the Keepa chart, even though, like I said, it has moved a couple of times at 80, I would be looking at when the sales rank was better. It's right around like 35. So I would say, okay, let's sell for 35. And then let's reverse engineer. What would we want to pay for a book that's going to pay out $19? Because, all right, this is saying it'd pay out $19 if you got it for free. So I'd say if you could buy this for like $7 or $8 free shipping, then I would definitely buy it. Of course, when I send it in, I'd try to exploit the buy box. I mean, factually, people have sold it for 79. So I would try to sell it for 79 because other people have, but I would more reasonably say that this as a min price should probably move around $34.99. And I'm always thinking worst case scenario, can I make money? And will I still make decent money at the min price? So this is not a book that is going to be a good deal to like right now, but it could be a good deal in the future if you track it. So it's possible to do that. Let's just keep going. Let's see what else we got. Texas law of contracts. So if this were to have dropped a little bit lower, this would have qualified as well. So you can see that this historically is solid, selling 60, 70 bucks pretty frequently. The use price goes down to $33. If that went down to like 15 to 20, that would probably be a lot better of a deal. But 33, again, there's just not much margin. Because if you would sell it at 65 and you bought it for 33, there's just not enough room to make money. And there's not enough room for you to be conservative. And, you know, if something bad happens and you have to sell it a little bit less, I mean, you're going to barely be making your money. I just opened this because this just looks like a very interesting book. I just want to know what this book is. Nut Tree Culture in North America. This came out in 1979, and this book is still moving to this day. Solid book, moving at around 15 bucks. That's probably what this is worth, $12 to $15. Doesn't sell a ton, but dude, this thing is consistent. It's like worth 15 bucks. So this is like a solid book pickup, a free book pickup. Like if you were to get this out in the wild, this has a really high sales rank. People with Scout IQ or Scoutly would pass on it. Like a lot of people would scan it on this day, December 25th, 3.3 million rank, and they would just leave it behind. But I mean, I would pick this book up for $1 because look at the last 2,400 days. This book is consistently moving for about 17 bucks. And this came out in 1979. Clearly, there's no new edition of this book. This is a very niche book. People would want this. Buy box is at 22. And I don't think that's not a prime seller. So yeah, there's no prime listing. You can see there's actually two copies, one at 22, one at 18.90, and there's actually no prime seller. So you could come on the listing, even though this is regularly selling for right around 15 to right around $15. I would bet that you could probably easily sell as $24.95 as a prime seller. You could probably even sell upwards of $29.99. And the interesting thing about this book, everyone, is that the used offer count is historically very low. It's never been this low ever in the past. And one thing that you'll notice about used offer count and price is that if there is demand for this book and the supply of this is being squeezed, then you should see that the used price of this book goes up. And you actually have seen a little bit of that. You've seen a couple of these people like try to go a little bit higher, up to $79.99. And the reason is that as these two copies, which are reasonably priced, like these two books are reasonably priced. They're actually a little bit higher than historically what they sell for, but these are going to sell out. And then the book, the price is going to go up to 85. And the reason why it's going to go up is just due to the fact that all of the people at the more reasonable selling price sell out. And so the only thing that's left is this. So the question is, will someone be able to sell it at $75 or $80? I would highly doubt it, but it really depends on how long the used offer count stays that low. If it stays at a used offer count of 2 for 6 months, I would bet somebody probably does pop on it for 75 bucks. But all this to say is that books that have high sales ranks definitely sell. I would say look at Keepa because Keepa shows the entire history of that book over time. And I would say that if this was something I was out in the wild picking up for $1, I would 100% pick this up for $1. I'd probably try to sell it $29.99 as a prime seller, but more realistically, you'd probably sell it for like $18.99, $20 like that. Excellent. Thank you. What about when you're on the page that has all the deals? Instead of clicking on every search result, what gets that click through? Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the same thing so same thing here, Eric. When I'm going through all these deals here, I'm looking at the bottom right of so I'm not sure if you can see, but the bottom right of my screen, you should be able to see a little Keepa graph. And that little Keepa graph is essentially what I'm looking at here, just in a much smaller version. So what causes me to click on it is the same thing. I'm looking at a used price up here. I'm looking at the price today being down here. I'm looking at there being some consistent sales rank drops, which means that the book is selling. This is a book that kind of you would think meets that criteria because you see that the used price, at least this black used line, is pretty consistent. It's pretty high. And then the used price today is much lower. However, notice that the third-party new price is actually lower than the used prices, which means that usually you would think that the new third-party price is also a ceiling for how high you can ask for the book. So the difference between the lowest used price and that third-party new price is there's really no difference. So that's something that I would automatically just pass on as well. Yeah, I mean, the name of the game here, everyone, is that you're trying to find stuff that is significantly undervalued. It's less than what it was in the past. So like this book here, consistently moving at $60 in used condition. Looks like the new third-party price is right around the same price. Like, notice that this is a good deal. This isn't a good deal necessarily to say like you can make money on it, but as a consumer, this is an amazing deal. Because if for the whole year you had to spend 65 bucks for this book, and then all of a sudden it goes down on one day to 27.55, that's a good deal. Like if you're a customer, you're saving, you're getting a 50%, like 50% off on this book. Now, generally with reselling a book and making money, you probably want to buy books at about 30% of what the normal selling price is in order for it to be a good deal. So I wouldn't buy this book to flip on Amazon for $27.55 because there's just not enough margin in there. But if that went down to $15, then absolutely that would be a great margin. So that's what I'll say. So let's see. Why have I never seen that in the bottom right? Always learning. Yes, you got to look at that in the bottom right. That is key. That is key. And you actually have to, if you don't have that selection enabled, you have to go over to Keepa and you got to go to your settings. So up here at the top right, you'd have to open up your settings, and then you'd have to scroll down to, where is this? You'd have to websites. You go over down to the website, and then you'd scroll down to show price history graphs as overlays when hovering Amazon products. And I think the default is no. What that means is if you hover over an Amazon product, it doesn't show you the Keepa chart. So you got to say yes. And when you say yes, then you're good to go. Let's see, Gary, I always love Gary's comments. So what does Gary say? The Netry book, would it be too speculative to buy the two $20 books and flip for 75? That's a great question. I personally would not do that, Gary, because even though the used offer count over the last year has just been going down, 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 and down, no one has a crystal ball. So even though it's probably going to stay down there, there just hasn't been any history of this book selling for anything more than that. I guess the one thing that I would look at is, I guess what I'd be looking for, Gary, is has there ever been a time in the past where the used offer count has been similar to today? And what was the book moving for at that same used offer count? Because this used offer count is so low, there's just no history. There's no data to show what this book would be moving for in the past. But because this book generally just doesn't hold a ton of value, like, if this book really truly was valuable, I mean, it would be selling for well over $15. So, I mean, it has some value because the market says that it has a value of $15. That's what people are willing to pay for it. But because there hasn't been any point in time in the past where this book has sold for even $30, like this book has never got up to $30 at the lowest use price, I would not bet that selling it at $75 or $80 is likely to happen. It could happen. Like I said, if in the next 6 months out of the year, there's only 1 or 2 offers and they're all at $85, there could be some subset of the population. So that might be willing to buy it. Because think about it, like what number of people want to buy this book? Well, in any given year, there's maybe about 10 people willing to buy this book. So clearly it's very niche. This is not a book that is pricing people out of the market. Like this is a very affordable book. If somebody wants this book, it's not that hard to get it at $15. So what that tells me is that there's a very limited demand for this book. It's very, very niche. So the question is, will this subpopulation of the greater population, will there be a subpopulation of the subpopulation willing to pay even more money, like a completely inflated price for this? Probably not. But again, I mean, if we stay at a used offer count at 2 and we stay at there for the next 1 or 2 years, then probably things change and probably there is 1 or 2 people willing to do that. So I would definitely say it's way too speculative to buy those 2 copies. I'm just saying that if you were out in the wild and you could pick this up for free or $1, it's a solid pickup. I'd try to sell it for $25 to $29, but I definitely would not buy that book. Great question though. Okay, let's see what else we got. Comics Journal, French Regional. Ooh, this book looks interesting. Interesting. Okay, this book has a lot going on because I've been tracking this book for a long time. And it's actually almost right at my tracker, which is interesting. This is a French regional food book, 2014. And right now the buy box is actually from a merchant seller at 14. So there's probably no prime seller on this. Let's take a look. Let's come over here to filters. Is there any price? Yeah, there's no prime sellers. And let's see what the lowest prices are. So we have one at 15 plus shipping. Then we got another one, same. So we got 3 copies right around $20, and then it goes up to 45 and 59. So what we could see about this book is that The most recent sale was right around 60 bucks. And then there's a sale before that at 36. So in the last 3 months, it's only sold, it looks like 3 times. Also sold back here for 50. Now, July, September, it was moving for right around 50 to 60 as well. Amazon was selling this new for about $28 to $35 way back when. So I doubt that if they went out of stock in 2018, they're probably not coming back in stock. It looks like they actually did come back in stock for a little while in 2021. So maybe they found an extra few, a couple copies or something. They sold out at 40 bucks. So that's good news. I have a tracker set to a use price of $20. So did this actually? Actually, this did trigger my tracker. Would I buy this though? I would say I probably want to be maybe a little bit cheaper, but I mean, you're basically picking this up for $19.98. So let's go and put this in as a buy cost, $19.98. And what could you sell this book for? I mean, in the used offer count is starting to go up a little bit, but there have been some sales upwards of 90. These sales are up here were for 150, which is crazy. Then this sells at $30 here. So I would say probably like being very conservative, you would sell this at 45. You'd make a $5 profit. Not great. What I would try to sell for is right around $65 though. And if you sell for 65, you're making a solid 100% ROI. What I would check to see though is there a newer edition? Probably not, because this is a cookbook, right? So I would doubt that there's a newer edition of this book. Yeah, it looks like there's some really interesting recipes. And let's see, came out in 2014. What I would say as well is that even though I don't do this as much as I should, there are a lot of really cool, interesting books that teach you things about food, teach you about life, teach you about just very niche things that are really interesting. This is a book that I could totally see you picking up because you actually are interested in French regional food and you want to learn how to make it. And this is something that, at least for the short term, you could hold on to and it would still hold value. So it's like, even though you're buying this book and the goal is to eventually make money on it, a lot of the products you come across, if you snag great deals on them, and feel free to like hold on to them for a little bit, not so that they appreciate in price, but because you bought, like, in my mind, I know this isn't the best way to think of it. It's like, in my mind, you bought an asset, something that actually holds value. And when you resell it, you'll be able to make your money back and probably make profit as well. So it's like, I could totally see this as a book where it's like, hey, let me check out the recipes in this book. Let me see if there's anything interesting in here. Maybe I'll hold on to it for like a month or two, learn from it, and then I'll flip it and make money. So I think that's an interesting part of the trade that, I don't know, some people are probably not super interested in, but yeah, that's what I'll say. All right. Let's we haven't looked at Flipmine in a while. Let's see if anything is updated on Flipmine. We got management. We had a couple really high dollar books here. 74, 69. Let's look at this one, truck and trailer systems. So this is if this is a good deal, it's going to be gone. Probably it's been out for about 30 minutes. Let's see what else. Anything else that's interesting? This is interesting as well, although, and this is actually really interesting. When it comes to Flipmine, most of the deals, like, you got to go through a lot of volume. This is why it's called Flipmine. Mining means that you have to do some work. You have to get through all of the tailings before you find something good. So let's look at that one too. 41 bucks. Let's just do these ones quick. You can buy it for 30 on Amazon, so not a great deal on eBay. But look, this book has been selling for over $100 throughout the first half of this year, and consistently in the past year was selling for that. Really interesting is that back in 2016 and 2017, this book was selling for as low as $8. So this shows you that even though books do go down in price, they can go back up in price. So obviously, if you had a crystal ball, you'd have bought all these copies down here and sold them for insane prices later. But no one has a crystal ball, so no one would know that. So clearly, $41 is not a great deal, considering you could buy it for cheaper or about the same price on Amazon. And I would prefer buying from Amazon rather than from eBay, probably. Is there a newer edition of this? So I don't see a newer edition, and it says first edition. When did this come out? 2014. So there's probably not a newer edition of this book, but yeah, I would probably want the price of this book to maybe be a little bit lower. But I mean, factually, this book has been selling through 2021, 2022 of over $100. So I mean, at $41, while it would not be a great deal, I mean, you could probably still make money on it, but I would probably want to see a cheaper price for sure. Like, I'd probably want to scoop this up for like 20 bucks if it came on listing. So I'll track it for 20. And if it ever gets to 20, then it'll notify me and I'll make a decision from there. But we'll go. A3 manual. Let's see what this is. So it looks like this is a set of a whole bunch of different books, and it obviously sells for some really good money, $249. Sales rank on this is amazing. But again, the listing here is for just one of many books, so that's not a book that we would buy. But if this was an eBay seller and they were listed at that price and it was all these books, 100%, I would scoop that. Okay, so Backstage Secrets, a decade behind the scenes of Victoria's Secret's fashion. And I wouldn't buy this right off the bat because the spine is coming detached, but is it coming detached? Yeah, it looks like it's coming detached. So that's not a book that I would look, but let's just look at what the price is. So this book has sold a few times for 170, and then it has sold twice for right around 85 bucks in new condition. So it looks like new third-party sellers came on the listing. This book clearly moves at a new price at around 80 bucks. So clearly this book has value. There's just not very many people willing to pay double that retail price. So there are some people. So at 80 bucks, if this was in good condition, I'd probably make an offer. I'd probably try to snag it for like 50 bucks. Because at 50, I feel like that would be a pretty safe bet, because if you look back here, when this book was selling very frequently, very regularly, the new price is right around 80. So people are willing to spend 80 bucks for this book. So I would bet that you could sell it in used condition for right around 80 bucks pretty easily, meaning that your money is probably going to be pretty safe. Like, you're not going to lose money. Now, of course, these sales have been upwards of 170, so I would try to sell it at 170 since that's what it's sold for, and try to make some money on it. But I would not buy that in current condition. 26 bucks here. Let's go down. Yeah, I mean, not much more to say than this. This book has been moving for around 20 bucks, so it's priced right around what it's worth, maybe even a little bit too high on eBay, in my opinion. 29, look over here on this, same thing. This is selling for right around $29 pretty consistently. In the past, for some reason, it sold twice for $200. Who knows why? I don't know why. Crazy. So it's like it's always possible to get lucky and sell books for super inflated prices, but there's really no reason why this book should have sold for that high, even though it did. But generally, again, what you're looking for is, when is the sales rank the best? That should indicate what the market really truly values that book at. It looks like it values it right around $29. So then you compare it to eBay. Well, if the true value of this book is $29, then obviously buying it for $29 is not going to make you any money, because you're buying the book for what it's worth. You're not really snagging a good deal. All right, everybody, we're getting to that point in time. We've been live for about an hour. We got about maybe 15 to 20 people pretty consistently, so that's been really awesome. Let's just open it up for maybe about 5 to 10 minutes of Q&A, and then we'll go ahead and end the day, and everyone can enjoy this Saturday. Any other questions? Any other comments? How is everyone's February sales going? I think mine are, like I said, I'm right around $5,000 in sales in February, which is, it's not bad. I think honestly my goal is to hit 10K in February. That's probably my goal, is to hit 10K in sales, which is not, I mean, it's not amazing, but the goal again is that during the textbook season, that's when you sell most of your books. So I think I ended up doing like 33. I think I did like 32 or 33,000 in January, which was pretty good. I was pretty happy with that. Let's see. One thing that I also will show is, you're welcome, Gary. No worries. If you're not on my, if you haven't subscribed to the email list, to my newsletter, feel free if you're interested in that. So I have a newsletter that I've just started. You're going to get access to exclusive tips, strategies, and insights for successful online book arbitrage, and you're going to be the first to know when courses are available. So if you're interested in this, feel free to put your email in. I'm not going to spam you or anything, because I don't have time to spam you. I only have time to provide value to you. So if you're interested, feel free to sign up. I'm still thinking about exactly what I'm going to make that's exclusive for people who sign up, but probably what it's going to be is probably like maybe some private live sourcing sessions. Maybe I'll do like a group coaching call every once in a while for people who are subscribed on the newsletter. And then I'll probably start sending out every once in a while. Like, I don't plan to be sending out a ton of stuff, to be honest, but every once in a while I'll probably send out, something about like a SOP, standard operating procedure, or I'll send out something that I'll share with you all first before I just share it to everyone else in the public, because maybe I find something that's really cool. So I don't know. So if that's if that's interesting to you, then feel free to do that. The other thing that I will say is that we have a Discord. It's called Joji's Book Flippers. I'll go ahead and also get the link if you are interested in that. There's a lot of really cool people in there, and they can answer a lot of your questions. So I'm not always like, most of the time when it's active, I'm usually at school. So there's usually other people in the Discord helping each other out. But there's a lot of really great people in there. Let's see. February is about 50% down so far. Who's winning the game? Oh, Eric, who's winning the game tomorrow? I don't know. I just feel like Mahomes is too good. So if I had to put money on it, which I'm not because I'm not a gambler, but if I had to put money on it, I'd put the Chiefs. But yeah, who do you think? Eric? Trying to figure out Be Cool. I'm getting delisted for whatever reason. I'm having to tweak my prices all the time. Do you mean you're getting high pricing errors? Is that what you mean, Rosemary? I struggle with high pricing errors as well. I have to figure out how to do that. Yeah, taking the time with the masses for sure. I mean, we got like a full class here. I don't know about you, but the average size class for me is like right around 25. So we got a full class here. You're welcome, Rosemary. Do I pay attention to sales rank? I 100% do pay attention to sales rank. I'm looking for books that I'm looking for books that should move within 3 months. And in order to see books that move within 3 months, like you should see at least three on the low end, 3 sales rank drops in that 3-month period. Ideally, you'd see more than that, maybe 5 to 10 or 15 or more. But yeah, definitely pay attention to sales rank. Rosemary says high and low pricing errors on Be Cool. Oh, interesting. Rosemary, if they're on Be Cool, I don't think I've struggled with that. But what I have struggled with on Amazon is Amazon thinking that the price I'm listing my book at being too high, and then it gets stranded. Or not stranded, but it's it is stranded. Like I have to then go in and fix the price. Do you buy Amazon books to resell with your Prime account? Good question. So according to TOS, the only thing you cannot do is use the Prime shipping service. So yeah, I have a business account as well, like a business Amazon account. I also have just my regular Amazon Prime account. And generally what I do is I buy my books using my Amazon Prime account, but don't use the Amazon Prime service. So, I mean, most of the books that you buy are going to be from people who are merchant fulfilled sellers. So obviously there's no Prime advantage. You're not taking advantage of Prime shipping services. So most of the time it's good. If you come across a book that is from a Prime seller and you are on your Amazon Prime account, then you need to select that option that says don't use the Prime shipping service. So you'd have to use the generic shipping speed. Yeah, technically, I probably should just do all of my buys using a business account, but I don't do that. And I've been buying books on Amazon. I've been doing Amazon flips since like 2017. I've never had an issue. So I've never been called out. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure just what is factually against the TOS is using the Prime shipping service, and I don't do that. So that's probably why I haven't run into an issue. Oh, okay, Amazon, that'd be cool. Yeah, Rosemary, I don't really have a great solution for you. I don't usually have low pricing errors. What I have is high pricing errors. So this is a book, for example, that sells for $200 or 150. We'll say 150. Here's a book that sells for $150 in the last 6 months, and I list mine for 180, and they go, nope, that's too high. And I list it for 150. They go, nope, that's too high. And then I list it for 120. They go, nope, that's too high. So then I just got to keep lowering the price until finally they're happy with it. And sometimes that means you just have to sell the book at cost. I haven't really had the case where I had to sell it at a loss. Usually it's like you have to sell the book and barely get what you paid for the book and maybe make a little bit of profit. So picking the Chiefs, says Eric. Wouldn't be surprised when Eagles win. It should be a great game. Cheers. Enjoy the day. We teachers need these weekends. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. All right, everybody. Have a great Saturday. Have a great Super Bowl weekend if that's what you do. And I'm going to peace out, spend some time with my wife and my baby boy. So have a good one, everyone. Peace.